So I'll count it off.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3.
Just let's go.
1, 2, 3, go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Howdy, folks. Welcome back to the rehearsal room. Nick here.
Aaron's here.
Aaron, if you could introduce the topic for this week, I would appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah, I was. I know it's going to be about collecting, but
Yeah.
I know my perspective on collecting is a little bit different, and I don't want to just.
No.
You know.
I was looking at, again, our collecting in general, whether it be music, movies, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And just the idiosyncratic things that we do where it comes to how we divide them up, what got us into it, what do we collect, what are things that we, are there rules to your collecting that, you abide and so forth. Just, I know we're huge collectors of stuff. A multitude of things. Myself, mainly music is mainly what I collect.
Yeah.
So just kind of interesting to see, where we got started, how we got, how we divide our stuff up and so forth.
I do start with comics, books, regular books.
Okay.
Comic books, graphic novels, movies, in multiple formats.
Right on.
And obviously the music in different formats. Where did you start? Like when you were like, I'm going to start collecting this.
It was definitely with music. I mean, once I got into music and it was something that I realized I had a passion and a love for, and again, I mean, not to sound like an old man, but in our day, how else was I going to get the music? It was either on the radio or if I wanted it for myself, you had to buy. So it was the idea of, I didn't think of it at that time necessarily as a collection as much as just I'm buying the records and, the stuff that I want to listen to. It gave me the access and the freedom ultimately. So yeah, probably that would have been 15, 16 years old, maybe 2 years younger than that. I mean, I had people buy me stuff, birthdays and stuff like that. So before, but my first would have been probably, 14, 15 years old when I was buying my own. And then, started very modestly with my cassette collection and eventually into CDs. And, now has grown into, a little over 1,000 on CD records and cassettes and so on and so forth, But yeah, just.
Do you remember like the first thing that started off your collection?
Technically the first cassette that I got would have been Please Hammer Don't Hurt 'Em.
Oh, yeah.
That was bought for me. The first cassette that I bought for myself would have been Ozzy Osbourne's No More Tears. The first CD would have been, I believe I got them both at the same time, was Corrosion of Conformity's Deliverance, which I still have to this day. Show you the age of it. And I want to say, I think it was Creedence Clearwater's Willie and the Poor Boys.
Okay.
Yeah, and those were the first two that I bought. Oh, no, the three. I got the NIB. First one, the tribute to Black Sabbath with all the people doing the covers.
The
and shit
Nativity
like
in Black.
Yeah, I got that first one. Those
with like
ones.
the weird tarot card cover.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yes, it had the first one especially had really cool covers. Corrosion of Conformity being one of them. So yeah, that was where I found myself. Like, again, it's weird. I never thought of it as collecting in that sense, even though that's exactly what I was doing. But to me, it was just like, I want to buy the things I want to listen to and I want to own them. Yeah. I certainly, kept them in alphabetical order, as I still do to this day, despite some friends being like, what the hell? Like, which I never understood why that was a weird thing. You know what I mean? But for some people, it was like, they're in alphabetical. What does it matter? I'm like, well, it totally matters. You know what I mean?
I especially with my movie collection, I've gone through several facets of several versions of a collection, especially with movies. I used to collect them according to genre, director, and then I'd have them broken apart by decades.
Interesting. And I've certainly thought of doing, like, having a jazz section, having a hip-hop section, having a metal section. But it's just like, I don't know, man. Alphabetical does it for me, But I do find sometimes maybe things get lost in there sometimes when it's just like, oh, I forgot I had that in the D's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, yeah, CDs and records right now are both in that. My movies, I have a much, not even compared to your collection. I was doing it for a while.
Yeah.
And then I just got to a point where it was just like, once cable got real good, I found that most of what I wanted to watch was on cable anyway, and I wasn't putting in the DVDs. So I got rid of a lot of them. There are ones that will never go away. My Lord of the Rings box sets, or the extended versions, are never. That will be. I hopefully will be willing those to grandchildren someday. You know, my Batman box sets and stuff like. Obviously, one we share. Our Conan box set is definitely, not going anywhere anytime soon. But yeah, the movie one, I just space, and then just kind of also, I see this on the cable all the time. What's the point of owning it, kind of thing,
Yeah, I started. Let's see, my first, as far as music goes, I got myself the Misfits Walk Among Us on cassette when I was like 10 years old.
Very nice.
At Music Plus. Right, and I remembered hearing from other kids in school that like, yeah, they have a bunch of like bootlegs and singles and stuff like that, and I didn't know what a bootleg was.
Sure,
right?
yeah, no.
So I just told myself, whatever I see that is Misfits, I need to have it.
Right on.
And eventually, I would go out to swap meets, record shops, and stuff like this, and anything that I would see Misfits on it, I got it.
Right on.
And when friends would come over to my house, they'd be like, "Oh, you have a Misfits collection."
Sure. Right.
That kind of empowered me, like, "Oh, I've leveled up on this one." Right. So it went from them to obviously Sam Hain is the next step. I had a big Black Flag collection at one point, and I say at one point because also at one point, a huge 80% of my collection got stolen from my house. And this is all my records, movies, books, Laserdisc. I used to have a big Laserdisc collection.
Right
VHS cassettes. I was super big on like big Vestron clamshell tapes, the Thorn EMI tapes, all this stuff.
Now, was music where you started collecting anything, or did it start with? Okay,
I started with comic books.
Okay, so that's what I thought. Okay,
actually, around the same time. One of my teachers gave me 3 comics that I still have to this day. One of them was a Superman Man of Steel #1.
Okay.
A Punisher comic where on the cover, he's like swinging into an apartment of drug dealers.
Okay.
And he's holding this big old bazooka.
Oh, nice.
And the drug dealer at the window, which only has a handgun, is very much a person of color and very much startled, you know? Because Marvel Comics in the early 80s. But yeah, so like that was one of my introductions to the Punisher. And then he gave me an X-Men comic.
Oh, cool.
And I remember that
That's
teacher
a good start, man.
Yeah,
all 3 of those, man.
Yeah, so he's like, that teacher told me, if you keep reading these, you're going to stay out of trouble. Because that's how much of a shithead kid I was.
I gotcha.
And so anytime I was at a store or even I knew there were some comic shops around my parents' house at that time, I would wander in, and for $2-3 I could walk out with a new issue of this.
Nice.
In a plastic bag with a backing board.
Sure.
And the people at the counters always told me, keep these in here because one day they're gonna be worth something.
Oh,
maybe not monetarily, but to you, you're gonna want to come back and look at these stories and this artwork. So from then on, I was like, cool. And I had my my long boxes of comics and stuff like that. So from like 10th grade, the 10 years of age, I started collecting comics, and then after that, I discovered music.
Okay.
The movie stuff came later on because that's when I was able to make money of my own.
I gotcha.
I would go to Suncoast Videos.
Oh, that brings
you
back
remember
memories.
that, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Tower Records, which
Yes.
they had a store in East LA. I would go to any swap meet, and usually they had bootlegs of like foreign movies or foreign cartoons and stuff like that.
Right on.
So anytime I could get my hand, and this is where I started divvying up the sections.
I gotcha.
So it was like Japanese anime, Japanese horror, Japanese sci-fi, kaiju, and all this stuff.
Right on.
And then American monsters, the Universal classic monsters, horror, Dracula, Frankenstein, etc.
Sure.
So in fact, I didn't have clothes in my closet for a while. It was all movies on half of it. The other half was all records.
Right on.
And to a certain degree, I still kind of maintain some of that.
Sure.
Like you, I have some that I just will not part with.
Yeah.
Like my Aliens box set.
Oh, nice.
My Blade Runner, different versions.
Very cool.
Briefcase that I have. I have a, what's his name? Hodorowski has a box set that I have that I'm very fond of.
Right on.
Oh, the Blind Dead. The Blind Dead movies was a zombie movie series from Spain.
Oh, okay.
And there's like 4 of them in that series, and I have a little coffin box. You know,
very cool.
Yeah, and I just yesterday my neighbor, as of recording this yesterday, my neighbor came over and told me he hadn't seen The Descent, a movie that I know I have.
Oh,
So while I was looking for it in my wall of movies there, it wasn't in the D's.
Oh.
And so I had to take out all the D's and put them in order. And I found out that I have 3 versions of George Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
no shit. Okay.
2 versions of the remake for some reason, again, you know. But that's just how like insane I could get.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
no.
for the same movie. I you know, my love of Conan.
Sure.
I have I think 3 versions on DVD, 2 on Blu-ray, and
Oh,
then
shit.
1 on like 4K.
That I have not updated. Yeah, I really should.
Yeah,
That box set is so nice, the way it looks and everything else. I just never bothered. But
Yeah, and then like
Yeah.
Legend is the other one.
Right
where
on.
I have the
yeah, if
VHS.
I still have that one too. If I threw that away, my wife would kill me. So.
Yeah, I have VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and then there's a European like steelbook that came out with like 3 different versions of the movie.
Very cool.
I had to get that as well, you know. So
That's a fan that way. Yeah. So.
yeah, you know, like I these are just must-haves, and my nephews can fight it out amongst themselves to see what they want to keep.
I have the same. There's some where I have it on record, and I also have it on CD, and I've definitely bought it twice in certain ways that way. But that's now when it comes to you've always been well, not always obviously, but like when it comes to your music, with that actually, and with movies also. Is it something where you moved along with the times, or was it always just whatever I could? You know what I mean? Like once CDs came in, did you go CDs? When records made a comeback, did you go back to records?
No,
VHS, DVD, so on and so forth.
If I really liked the band enough, I would buy it on vinyl and CD.
Okay,
You know, and sometimes cassette if I could find it.
I got you.
There's a lot of stuff that I've lost.
Sure.
Right? So I'm trying to go back and remember what I had and getting it. I have a pretty big Neurosis
Yeah.
collection. Some like with some test prints that I was able to get along the way. And that is something that I actually had the originals of from back in the day. Right. Since they're no more, I went back and replaced a bunch of them. And thankfully, they were kind enough to reissue a lot of them as well. So
And that great box set.
that box set, of course, and I had the CD versions as well, but I never really opted for one or the other. And anytime I like moved around, I always tried to find a place that could accommodate
Right on.
like all my junk.
Yeah.
I've actually lost stuff along the way
I gotcha.
through moving,
Uh-huh.
like all my clamshell movie boxes.
I got you.
But I could find them on DVD or Blu-ray now, so it's a loss, but not that big of a loss.
So are you more with when it comes to the movies where you'd rather have them on maybe DVD or go with the Blu-ray than the VHS? Like losing the VHS as opposed to losing original vinyl, not as big. You know what I'm saying?
Losing the VHS it's still kind of a big hit
Sure.
because some of those movies, depending on the movie, and this is how like detailed I can get with this stuff, those versions don't exist anymore.
Ah, gotcha.
Right?
I see what
so
you're saying.
it's a very specific cut of a movie. And I'd love to be able to just to have it.
Well, to have the originals always, that's always the best. And the memories that come with it. And
the
so
memories,
forth.
plus like literally every movie that I own,
Right.
I've got it memorized.
I gotcha.
So even though I can't see it,
Sure.
listeners by now should know that I'm totally blind. I can still enjoy it. I know what the actors look like.
Right.
I know what James Spader looks like. So anytime I put it on, I can still enjoy it 100%.
Right on.
And plus, one day I want to show my nephews like, hey, this is the weird shit that your uncle was into when he was younger. But yeah, like it's still a hit, and I do try to find the DVDs. And Blu-rays, especially and now since 4K is a thing,
Right.
I gotta get that as well.
Hey,
So
watch it in the best way possible. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I
Especially movies like that. I mean, the sound, everything. If you can get it in the better way, why not?
for sure, yeah, and but I also think at one point you can get a little too lost in the muck when it comes to collecting.
No. Yeah.
I actually kind of chalk this up to being. This is dumb. Ever since I was a kid, I always called these people this. In Pee-wee's Big Adventure, his nemesis,
Yes.
Francis. anyone who collects just for the sake of collecting
right.
is a Francis.
Yeah. The idea that you need to buy every color variant of
everything just to have it.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, if somebody's into the same thing I am, I can tell that they're into it.
Yeah.
Right.
I got you.
And when somebody just gets things just to get them, and is
it's more bragging rights,
superficially aware of what's going on, like in movies or comics or something. I feel like, oh, you're being a Francis. You're getting this shit to show off. You want Francis, and you're not gonna get him. Sorry, buddy.
Where are they hosing him off?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I've always done that ever since I was a little kid, and I was aware of Francis and Pee-wee.
Sure, yeah.
I was like, you're being a fucking Francis right now.
I mean, yeah. I just feel, I always think like, great, you have all 4 variants, and it's just like, well, I have one, and then I have. I mean, to be honest, now I just don't give a shit. I know you're big. I know you like the color, the vinyl stuff.
Yeah.
For me, it's just like, look, if I can save $2 and get the black vinyl, good enough. I don't care. I'm not.
Of
you know what I
course.
mean?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be one or the other. A lot of times, the box sets of stuff I usually pass on just price wise. It's just not, unless it's something that I really think is like, again, that Neurosis box set was pretty badass.
Yeah.
The last one I probably bought before that was that the Dead Red Sabaoth or whatever you call it, the Danzig record.
Right.
Came with this cool little plastic urn, and it did all these. Fuck it, why not? It was like $60 or something like that. But yeah, when I see the people who, it's like, or they, even sometimes I get hit up on like Discogs, it's like, hey, you have that variant. What would you? And I'm like, well, do you have it? Yeah, I got.
Right.
I'm missing it from my collect. Like, what? Come on, it's like you're not missing it. You have 3 other versions.
Yeah,
How many can you listen to? You know what I mean?
Like the latest thing Amy and I added to our collection was the Carcass box set.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Just because that's one of our together bands,
Yes.
and even though we have the album separately.
Oh,
it's a blood splattered print on the vinyl, and
I just
fun,
think, and again, to each their own. I'm like, you collect however you want to.
Sure,
It's not my
sure.
money. I don't give a shit. Just one of those things where it's like, I have the B side, I have the radio edit, I have the, I guess for me, it's the way I look at it. For me, it's just the more important. Those are money I could spend on a lot of other things that I could listen to, as opposed to, look, if you're, I also get like, I fucking love this one band more than anything else. If I could afford to buy every single thing of it, I'd do it too. You know what I mean? I get that part. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like this. There is that thin line between like, are you collecting it because it's what you like and what you love, or is it also like this bragging right to say, you know what I mean? And
you
it's
want
like,
the credibility,
right? I'm
Which
going down
is-
Discogs and I'm writing. Yes, I got that one. I got 4 more to have the collection.
I'm gonna be honest. It's a weird thing to have a complaint about, but I think enough people have it. Maybe some don't want to admit that they have this complaint. Because it's their money. They can spend it and waste it however they want. But I don't know, when you're putting that much time and concentration of like, because you do kind of what's it called when you put together like a playlist when you you know this
Yes,
word.
I do know that word.
This word applying to collections. When you're forming your collection. That's for now because I don't know the word.
I know. Yes. God damn it! The word is gonna. I'm gonna be driving home and just yell it out loud. Yes, I know exactly what you're saying.
I'm gonna get this like on Monday or something.
Yes.
So when you're putting your collection together, you have an idea of what you want and why you want it to. Like, I'm gonna give you an example. When I first heard Sleep, I fell in love with Sleep.
Right.
And then when I heard High on Fire, fell in love with High on Fire.
Sure.
But I did not stop liking Sleep. Right.
Yes.
So anything they ever put out, I'm gonna try to get.
I feel you.
High on Fire, everything they ever put out, I'm gonna try to get it.
I hear you.
But then there are people who maybe within the realm of music that you and I listen to know that High on Fire and Sleep are staple bands at this point. So they'll buy it and listen to it maybe, but then that they're not as into it.
It's possible. Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And I think this happens a lot more often than not.
Well, the collecting of it, because now they know that. Now it's like we all collectively know how much these things are worth.
Yes, exactly.
There's also that, right? Like,
Yes, yeah.
Wyatt has destroyed Record Day. Wyatt is you can't find a record player at a Goodwill the way you used to.
Right.
The reason why even pawn shops aren't selling used records for $3 the way they used to.
Exactly.
Everybody knows the worth of everything now.
Or they think they know.
They think they know, and it is just and it kind of it's unfortunate. I mean, like. For instance, like I stopped with records for a little while here because, quite frankly, they're just getting too expensive.
Yeah.
So now I try to find it on CD. Well, it seems like everybody's on that shit too, and then realizes that everybody's going to CDs now. So now you can't find CDs. Like I told you about a year ago, I was trying to get Drive Like Jehu's Yank Crimes album. You can buy the reissue vinyl with a 7-inch cheaper than the original CD.
Yeah.
You're just like, I don't even like, how is that? And more importantly, it's just the music. That's all I really want.
Yeah.
I just want to own the thing so I have it, so that I own the music, Yep. But it's just a weird, And again, the I get it. Everything has its value, I guess, but it's just like, man, it just sucks because so many things are out of reach in ways, and quite frankly, there's some stuff like Neurosis, for instance.
Yeah.
I would love to have an original pressing of Times of Grace, but not for $250.
Yeah, that's not gonna
I'd
happen.
have it framed. I'd never touch it. I'd be too afraid. What if something happens to it?
That's
And
how
it's
I
like-
felt. Like that's when I had Times of Grace, when I had Danzig 1 through 3 on vinyl, and I was like, yeah, this is as good as it's gonna get.
Right.
And then I didn't have them, and I was like, all right, well, now I can get other stuff.
Yeah.
And that's a little liberating.
It is,
you know?
right?
Because you don't have to worry about keeping it safe, keeping it out of the sun.
Right.
You can actually listen to whatever
Yes.
bootleg is going to replace it.
Yes.
Right? And
Speaking of, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. No. Go ahead.
I was just saying, when you say liberating, like, I remember, have you ever traded stuff in?
Yes.
Okay. What was that like the first time you did
It's
it?
painful.
It is, right?
It is
that
very
first
painful.
time was like Sophie's choice in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
where
because
you're just like-
you're literally looking at the two things or weighing them out.
Yeah.
How many memories do I have attached to this?
Yes.
And do I like this enough to replace
Absolutely.
this?
Yes.
Right.
And you just go, and admittedly, I have had to rebuy some stuff where I was like, what the fuck was I
I've
thinking when I got rid of
remorse.
that?
I've gotten
And,
remorse.
and especially I can be a bit of a mood listener, so
yeah.
maybe I listened to it in that moment and I just wasn't in the fucking mood for it.
Yeah.
I turn it in 3 years later. I'm going, what the hell was I saying? You know what I mean?
Yep,
But
yep.
it's happened. But I do remember that first time trading in. My mother was just like, who, by the way, she's just a pack rat. So it had nothing to do with the music. She was just like, oh, you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. And, that first time was very tough. But it was also nice to go like, well, these 3 things I'm not listening to, and I just walked away with this thing that I'm going to have forever.
Right.
In that way it was. But there is that, because once it becomes a collection to some degree, and you're taking care of it, and you're not, you know what I mean? Yeah. And, you're just like, I'm actually going to get rid of this thing that I paid money for? Like, why would I do this? And,
Yeah.
but eventually it does get a little liberating, because then I kind of look at it like, well, I hate all this shit and I never listen to it, and it's worth money to somebody who'll give me money to buy shit I want to listen to.
I used to order cassettes in like 7 inches from like Maximum Rock and Roll back in the day, and a lot of times I used to do it only for bands that I knew of. So
gotcha.
and it was always usually local to Los Angeles bands.
Okay.
So I had demo tapes of a bunch of the bands that are kind of more established now.
Okay.
And at one point, the people in those same bands lost their original copies.
Oh, interesting.
So as social media grew throughout the ages, and it was MySpace and Friendster and all this other dumb shit, they would post up like, I'm looking for a copy of this specific cassette from this year.
Interesting.
Does anybody have a copy of it? Can I buy it off of you? And
Wow.
I would have it, and I just sell it back to the band.
Oh, cool.
And it happened a good 4 or 5 times, but even then I was like, man, I still kind of want to get that back, because that version of that song is not out anywhere.
Sure.
And that's the version of the song that I like.
I gotcha.
So even then I've had remorse.
Oh, sure.
Where I always feel like, well, could you make a copy for me? At
Yeah,
least,
right.
like, I'm not gonna sell it or make money.
I hear you.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna just keep it. But yeah.
No, that's that. If you're done it online, you ever do like eBay's or the Discog thing? Because for me, it's just simply going to the record store. I don't want the hassle.
I
of
do
having to deal
Discogs,
with-
and you know this. You've
Okay.
actually been very
Yeah.
helpful with establishing my Discogs
Yes.
profile and helping me set up my collection at home.
It's just a way to look through your collection. That's all it is.
And please, you can thumb through my vinyl anytime. But I've
What
done
would my
eBay.
thumb? What would you say?
Yeah, right. I've done eBay. I've done Discogs. I've gone to record swaps.
But do you sell stuff? Have you? Because what
Oh,
I'm saying is, I've never sold anything. I've bought from eBay. I've certainly bought from Discogs, but I've never sold. I've never wanted to be on the other side of that. It seems like too many horror stories.
When I've sold to individual people.
Okay.
That I know just through conversation.
I
Like,
gotcha.
hey, I'm looking for this album.
Okay.
I happen to have that album. I'll give it to you for whatever.
Right on.
It's easier for me that way
Sure.
because I hate packing shit up and sending it through the post office.
You and me both.
Two, I hate haggling with people who are far away from me because I can just be like, all right, it's $30.
Right.
Well, will you take 25?
Right.
It's $30.
Right.
Like if you want it, $30. If you don't,
Right.
I'm sorry, but yeah, and I, not that I have a conscience or anything, but I do feel guilty if somebody feels ripped off. Was ever to feel ripped off by pricing, right?
I think that's where it comes down. It's like you just hear all those horror stories, and it's like, look, I would never rip anybody off. If I'm going to sell this to you, I'm going to package it the best I can.
Yeah.
I'm going to send it to you because by the way, I've been on the other side of that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you find these horror stories, and then you hear the stuff like, don't buy from certain countries because their post offices don't really work the way ours does, and you're just like, oh god, you know what I mean? But also the money alone is like buying anything from Europe anymore is like insane, But for me, it's just strictly record stores only when it comes to trade in and selling stuff. I mean, I have sold to some friends or I've given stuff to friends, you know what I mean? For the most part, it's like, especially friends, like, look, if you like the record and I'm not fucking listening to it, you can have it. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'd rather, to me, it's like it's going to a good home. That's the way I look at it. Like
with my comics, I have a pretty sizable amount.
Right on.
Not like fucking thousands upon thousands, but I've collected since I was 10.
Well, quality over quantity. That's the way I've always looked at it.
I'm 38 years into this.
Right on.
So, but the thing is that like not all of my comics are considered like grade worthy.
I gotcha.
They're not in the plastic kind of the hard plastic sleeves that people put them in.
Right.
I will say this though, I have 2 full versions of Conan the Barbarian comics, like Marvel, Dark Horse, and any other publishing company, because I love the character so much. I am an absolute nerd about this character. I have paperbacks on him, hardbook covers, right? But again, everything's been read. Everything's been thumbed through.
Yeah.
Not all of my comics are mint condition.
I feel you.
There's creases in the covers and everything. You can tell somebody put a bookmark here because I was copying the artwork for something else.
Wasn't that the point?
It is, right? That's part of my thing.
Yeah.
My collection now is an appreciated collection because I've gone in through, even now blind, I'll thumb through things and scan it with my phone so I can read it back to me.
Right on.
But that's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy one to rock and one to stock because firstly, I don't have that type of money.
No.
And secondly, I love the thing for what it is already.
Yeah.
So give that to me.
It's like I don't want to buy a car that I trailer. I bought the fucking car because I want to drive it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not, okay, it's a remastered version of Times of Grace that's only worth $20. Yeah, and I'm listening to it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
If it's just sitting in a place where I don't want to, exactly. To me, it's like, in fact, I just saw a guy, a rapper I follow. He put on, it's like, look, man, if you're hitting me up because there's the corner of your record is bent, you know what? Send me it back because you're not in it for the money. You're not in it for the music, man.
Right.
And there's a part of me that goes, I don't get me wrong. If the shit's destroyed, hey, come on, bro, help me out here. And most record companies are very cool about that.
Yeah.
But it's like. I'm bummed when it has a ding. I'm bummed when the case is cracked. You know what I mean? I was certainly bummed the one time my wife, as a joke, thought it'd be funny to push my cassette off the divider, and she thought it would hit the couch. It bounced off the couch, hit the wood floor, and cracked into about 35 pieces. Yeah, she thought that was going to be funny, and it turned out not to be funny. I still love her. Didn't kill her, though it would have been justifiable, I believe, under most laws.
No judge, whatever.
Totally understand, sir. But no, it's just like, you take good care of these things, right? Like you want them to last, but I also want to use them.
I'm going to use them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's going to be utility collecting,
It doesn't mean I chuck them when I'm done. It's just, but at the same time, it's like, I'm going to put them back in the case. They're going to be alphabetical. They're going to be put back where they go and, so on and so forth. But they're going to be used.
I'll say this about Amy, and I hope she doesn't mind me relaying this. When I first met her, she had her little small collection of movies. Mm-hmm. And I use the word collection very loosely in this. But I remember visiting her at her apartment one time, and the disc of the movie was face down.
Brother, yes.
And I must have screeched my own skeleton out of my body.
Oh, my God, yes.
I picked it up,
my wife's stack of CDs on the top of the cable box. Those things only ran about 7,000 degrees, stacked on top of each other. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, so... This is the type of thing that would drive me nuts because I used to be the person who would buy the CD cleaner, the disc cleaner, have the little wipey thing, you know? And now when we're watching something, if it's not put back, I am so anal about like finding the disc, first of all, which one of my the aforementioned Dawn of the Dead versions is missing from the box.
Oh, goodness.
So I'm panicking. I'm quietly panicking because if that disc is gone, I have to now go find that version of that movie and buy it again, which I'm not going to mind because it's going to be replaced.
Understandable.
I don't need 2 copies of Darjeeling Limited when my Dawn of the Dead is missing. You know, like that's just the if, ands, and buts.
No, listen, I totally understand. Yes. No, I mean, it got to the point where my wife stopped borrowing my CDs.
Yeah.
Like she borrowed my Tool Lateralis that has, so when you slide it out of the slipcase, right? Then the inside is essentially, I don't know how to describe it. It's plastic. So if you turn each page, it slowly peels a layer away from a human being that's kind of turned to the side. So it's like skin, then muscle, then nerve endings, and on. Cool thing. Yeah. Left it in the car, in the heat, and it wrinkled the whole fucking thing. Yeah. And it's one of those things again, like, Your Honor, I think we're justifiable here, you know. And again, you can't find that version anymore unless you go online and you're going to pay a top dollar for that shit. And it's one of those things where it's like, I love you, and I do love you technically more than I love this CD. I do, I promise. But dude, come on. So that was the end of it. So from then on, it was just, I burned her CDs. You know, whatever you want, just tell me, I'll burn it, and you can throw it in your car. I don't give a fuck what you do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's, there was a point in time when I was like, I'm going to start collecting Amun-Ra vinyl. And they started coming around to our side of the planet to play shows and everything. And I remember being incredibly excited because now I get to buy the vinyl straight from the band.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Which for me is always like the ultimate motive.
Yes.
It means a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, especially if they're very kind people, which in this case, Amun-Ra is very kind. So they hand me the record. I give them the money. I go home, open the vinyl, and it's fucking warped. The whole thing is just warped. And I play it just to see if it's bad. Like, it still tastes good, you know? No, it didn't. And so I had to be the annoying customer. And hey, guys, you know, the record that I just bought at yesterday's show is all warped. And, you know, they were very kind and replaced it.
That's good to know.
Very, very kind and replaced it. But
I had that happen with the Jesu album. Unfortunately, it was his last 5 copies. Now, it does play. It does play. And it plays fine.
Yeah.
But you are watching it like it's a fucking wave machine as it's on your record player. It's, which reminds me, I remember going to Amoeba one time. Guy, we were standing in, this is the old Amoeba. So you had that big long line where you stand to trade in shit. Yeah. Guy comes in with literally like a dolly, like 6 probably milk crates of records. Okay. Comes in. He's like, I want to turn these. Older gentleman, probably 50s, 60s. He's like, I want to turn these in. No problem, sir. He's like, you know, it's going to take me a while. He says, I'm going across the street. I'm going to go eat. By the time I get back, you should be good, sir. All right, have a good. And now, of course, all of us, you know, as it is Amoeba, many of us are like, I wonder what he's got there. You know, we're all kind of peering. Like, and he's pulling them out, and he's got like original pressings of these amazing jazz records, prog rock records. You're just like, God damn, dude. Like, if that hits the floor today, I might have to grab that one. You know what I mean? And then I see the guy pull out one of the records because he's feeling it. He's like, He pulls out one of the records, and he lays it down. And it's warped. It has a curve to it. And the guy's like, oh, shit. And he starts pulling the other one out. Same thing. The other one out. He goes, oh, he must have, He goes, these probably been sitting in his garage for about 30 years, stacked on top of each other. He's like, I can't take any of these. The guy's not there, you know. And we're all in line like, oh, my God. And I told him, I said, well, when he gets back, tell him stack him the other way for 30 years and see who'll bring him back. Maybe get some money, you know. But you're just like, you knew they were worth, but you left them sitting somewhere stacked on top. He's like, I know it's anal, but God damn it. Like, and it's not because I want it to be worth money someday. It's just, I have spent money on it. Why wouldn't I want to take care of it? Right?
Part of the upkeep, like anything that you're keeping needs maintenance.
Right.
Like,
I wash my ugly body. It's the least I can do to the records that I own. You know?
Keep it straight. Straight and narrow. Yeah, no, it's but yeah, it's part of this thing where you have to maintain the integrity of the thing you decided to invest in.
There it
you
is.
know? And it's not like an investment.
No,
like,
no. I know
I'm going to come back and make money off of this.
I never think about that when I'm buying.
Right.
I never buy a record thinking like, "Ooh, man, insert." Now, it is nice to go on Discogs and see what people are selling it for
Sure.
or what they think it's worth
Sure.
and look at that total and go, that's pretty nice. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, do you know what hassle it would be to
Yep.
sell all this shit at the same, and that's a big one. Like, that's what I've told my wife and kids. Like, look, when I'm dead and gone, and it'll be before most of you, I'm sure, you do whatever the fuck you want with this thing. I don't really give a shit. I won't be here to do anything with it. My hope is that you keep a couple that maybe remind you of your dad. Maybe it's something that has good memories, but do whatever you want with the rest of it. Hopefully sell it and get some money from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's something you want to collect, because my kids aren't necessarily, my son has I would say a modest CD collection, one that I probably had when I was in high school.
Yeah.
My daughters do not collect, though they are avid listeners and find a lot of stuff, but the idea of owning any of that is not really their thing. But yeah, I've told them over and over again, do whatever you need to do with it,
I figured I'm at a spot where anything I might have wanted when I was a kid, I'm going to treat myself to it.
Right on.
And when I remember about it, first of all, and when I come across it.
Sure.
Right. And much like you, when I'm no longer on this planet, I'm going to leave this to my nephews.
Right on.
So they can keep it. I know one of my other brothers is going to probably step in and take care of the collection for them.
Right on.
Because he's already had. I like, hey, can I have that? And I'm like, no, that's not yours. But yeah, so I'm hopeful it'll go to good hands. But it's all just dumb stuff, a bunch of Conan stuff. So,
But again, it's like it does. Obviously, it brings fulfillment, right? Like it's nice. It's nice to own it. It's cool. Still love getting it in the mail, ripping that box open, and holding that vinyl or holding that CD and going through the booklet. And there is still this part of knowing like, that's mine. I know everything's online now. You can listen to it whenever you want. Well, what if that all goes away? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I've heard people like, well, when the internet's down, I still have my like. Well, how often does that happen? My God.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if the apocalypse is coming, I don't know that it'll be like, well, thank goodness I have my CD collection.
I have time enough.
Right. Like I don't think we'll have electricity, so I don't think it'll matter.
Exactly.
Get out the old Victrola maybe and spin that bitch around. But yeah, to me it's just we all find our hobby, we all find our thing, and that's just that was something. And then yes, there is that balance where I have to say to myself, like, there's a lot of bands where, getting rid of a CD in a band from or an album that I love from a band. Like, I do not have a couple Slayer records. Right. Slayer's one of my all-time favorite bands, but they've got a couple records I don't like. And there's the collector in me that goes, yeah, but you don't own them. And then there's the listener in me who goes, yeah, but I've never fucking listened to them either, so who gives a shit?
Yeah.
But there is that. It's nice to look at a completion, you know what I mean? When you're just like, oh, look at that. From 1 to 7, I have all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, in the end, as you said before, but am I listening to them? If I'm not, then what's the point of keeping it? Or buying it? You know what I mean?
That's what I'm actually kind of going through right now with some of my vinyl.
Okay, interesting. All right.
Yeah, I'm kind of realizing I don't listen and have not listened to a lot of it in a long time.
Yeah.
I am going to keep it to some of the few staple bands that I know I'm always listening to. So I'll probably be visiting like a record shop at one point and just dumping a bunch of stuff there just because, I'm not going to hassle
no.
with Discogs and shit like that.
No way. It's funny that you say that because I have been doing this for the last probably 3 or 4 months too, looking at my record collection going like, I don't not want them and I don't not listen to them, but I'm not listening to them as much as I used to.
Yeah.
CDs I listen to every day. I put one in the car. That's my to work and back. So I'm always pulling a CD out of my CD collection. But the record is, and that's the beauty of records, right? It's the idea of like, I'm making time. I'm putting the record, dropping the needle, sitting here, listening to it. Sometimes I just don't have that time. Sometimes I'm too busy discovering new shit. You know what I mean? And it is one of those things where I definitely want to make the time. But it's also like, I know there's stuff that I own that I like or that I want. But if I'm not listening to it, then, you know what I mean? That's the hard decision for me. You know what I mean? It's like, well, it's not, it's like a noise record. It's like, well, I don't want to listen to that every day. It's not, I'm sorry. I like a little Merzbow, but I don't really got to throw it on at every party I have either. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just finding those little balances is always, again, the collector versus the listener is always battling in my head with a lot of that stuff.
Here's another aspect of how I collect things. Since I've played music for a long time,
right?
I always made it a point to buy one musical thing from one of the bands that I played with.
Okay. Okay.
So I have a bunch of stuff from a bunch of bands. Some of them don't exist anymore. You know, and I liked it at the time, and I probably like it now.
Sure. Sure.
I just don't listen to it enough.
Yes.
You know, enough to warrant keeping it and making the space for it.
I hear you 100%.
And that's my I mean, what a predicament to have, right?
Yeah,
First world problem, right?
Absolutely, no doubt about it. But in that moment when you heard it, you're like, I gotta have it.
Yeah.
And then you go back to it, you know, a year, 2 years later, and you're kind of like,
Yeah, I was
guess
like,
I don't need it. You know, yeah.
I didn't need that one.
I do find though with the internet, whether it's, you know, we're talking Spotify, Bandcamp, you know, however way you do it, I find that less now. I have less and less to trade in than I ever have before, because I'm able to really kind of listen to it, give it its time, and go, yeah, that's a keeper. That's one I'm buying, and I'm definitely going to be keeping that one. You know,
I've actually come to a point where I want more stuff, not just for the consumerism aspect of it.
Sure.
I used to be big into soundtracks, movie soundtracks.
Oh, right. No.
So I used to have these on whatever format they came in. Again, right? Mostly it was vinyl, and this all got lost at one point.
Right.
This all got stolen, and so I would love to sell off the vinyl that I have now that I don't listen to, and then kind of go back into my soundtrack collecting.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because
Get rid of shit that you don't listen to get the stuff you want. That to me is like, I'm glad we live in a world where they take that shit.
Oh yeah, for sure, right? Yeah.
I'm glad somebody wants this garbage.
I still, because I come, you know, because of our age, we come from a time and place where music listening and reading of books and all this shit, it's a very tactile thing.
Yeah, it's physical. You had to do it in order to have it.
And while the more important aspect of that, which is the site, I don't have that. I'd still love to have the record, scan it, have it, you know, read it to me, put it on the table, put the needle on the slab,
Absolutely,
and then have that play. I still love that.
Yeah,
I still absolutely love that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the takeaway. It's the, you know, it's, again, put the headphones on and I'm somewhere else.
Yeah,
you know,
for
it's
sure.
it's the thing that I always fell in love with music when it came to that. You know, I could, you know, it's my little trip without having to leave. You know what I mean? And for sure. You know, if you had to choose, if I told you tomorrow, music, movies, comic books, you got to get rid of two of them.
Get rid of two?
Got to get rid of two. You can only collect one for the rest of your life, if you had to. Now, obviously, this is not real. This is total hypothetical. No one's making you. There's nobody at your house right now with a grabbing boxes.
Grabbing stuff. Yeah. I would get rid of. Fuck, man, that's a tough one. Why don't you go first?
For me, music would always stay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't collect comics and books the way you do. My movies, I'd be okay because most of what I find myself watching the most of is available at times, and I could find it. You know what I mean? So in that way, it's the music for me, hands down. Because it's really, in all seriousness, and I've said this on the podcast before, it's really all I spend my money on. You know what I mean? Is music. So for me, it's like, much easier.
With me, it's like equal parts movies, comics / books.
Oh, I know. That's
and music. So like
that's why I want to see. That's why I was interested, because I know how much. And again, I've seen the collections. They're in great shape. They have them displayed. It's obviously something that means a lot to you. You know, it's not just, you know, boxed up somewhere because you say you have it. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why I was just wondering. You know, in general,
I'm going to. All right, here you go. I keep books.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because at being the age that I am now, I can imagine the pictures,
Sure.
so I don't need the movie, and I can create my own music,
Okay.
so I wouldn't need the music.
Right on.
So
All
I
right.
would keep the book.
All right. Little F, Mary, kill there. For
Yeah, that
your,
is
your collections.
that is quite the choice that Sophie has made.
Again, you know, it's just everybody collects something, right? Everybody's into something. You know,
Yeah,
you and I share one, certainly with music, and I just always, it's interesting to, like, I'm certainly that way. Anytime I go to somebody's house, especially if they have a music collection, I love to go through it because to me it says a lot about that person. It's interesting to see what do you have and what, you know, the older it is, the more interesting it is. Like, wow, when did you get this? Or sometimes they may have got it last week just at a pawn shop or whatever.
Sure,
but, you know, I love the idea of like, when did you? Oh, dude, that's the first record I ever have, and you still have it. Oh, that's amazing. That's so cool. You know,
I still have my first one,
and I just think that kind of stuff is really neat. And it's just like these kind of again, whatever you collect, because it shows an interest that you're into or whatever. You know,
I like to go back and just admit that my answer to that question is going to change next week.
Oh, please. This is, well,
Next week it'll probably be music.
Believe me. For me, only because the reality is I don't really collect anything else. So it's much easier choice for me. You know what I mean? I have probably 5 books. My wife probably has, 12. She has way many. She reads all the time. You know what I mean? But movies, I probably 70, if that, probably less. You know what I mean? So yeah, I started looking for, they're called pastiche. So anything that's not canon is considered pastiche. Okay.
So it's just not part of the original canon.
Okay.
As told by the original story writers. So I'm trying to acquire as many pastiche Conan paperbacks.
Oh, right on.
Of which there are hundreds.
I would imagine.
And it was recently found out that Russia has a whole market of pastiche Conan paperbacks.
Oh shit!
So if I can break into that Russian market, I'm going to be a step ahead of many, which I'm sure a lot of Americans have said recently. Right. But yeah, no. So I've got this whole section of my library, kind of just little Conan paperbacks.
Very cool.
Yeah.
No, it's always, like I said, I just think it's kind of neat, and you just, especially when you get into some of those niche little things like that with the stuff that you can find, and and then of course the community in which you can find yourself in, with all that stuff.
That's the other thing. I think that's the thing that we've not even touched upon yet, which is when you find the community that collects maybe the way you do, maybe a little bit more detailed than you do. It's so exciting.
It is.
It's exciting because you hear them speak, and it's just nerd talk left and right. For sure. Right? It's like, well, how can I keep this in better condition? And then they give you the rundown of everything you need. All right, no problem. Like, you're the one. I mean, again, we both collect music. You're the one that clued me in on how to stabilize my turntable with the pucks and everything. And I know I still have not done that, but I would not have found out about that had it not been for you. And I know you found out about it somewhere else.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I love, every time I'm a sucker for those. Some YouTube guy going like, "Here's a tip or trick to make your music sound better or help you with your collection." Like, tell me.
Yep.
Yeah, some of them was like, well, okay, that's way out of my price range.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or like,
give me the cheapy version of that.
I'm not a fucking carpenter, bro. What do you want me to do? You know what I mean? But there's those other ones like the one I think I told you, the pool noodle one. So,
yes,
you
which
cut
I
the pool
did.
noodle.
Actually,
yeah, that's fucking great, right?
Yep.
Meanwhile, they sell them, they're like $50 a piece, or you can buy fucking like 7 billion pool noodles for the same price.
Yep.
Cut those, put them behind your records, and it pushes all the records to the front, so you're not going. I mean, these are again first world problems. Boo hoo hoo! I got to reach in to grab the record.
I know, right?
But having it presented to the front, just like it looks better. I like the way that looks.
It's streamlined.
It is. Yeah. It's cool little, and I love the one you guys, you and Amy clued me on, those little plastic pieces so they could put the letters on.
Oh yeah,
I was like, oh yes, dude, because especially with records, it's like it's so hard when they're on their side. How do I know where my A's and my B's? You know what I mean?
It almost feels official, like like if a record shop wanted to come in and investigate my collection, like they'd be like, all right, that's pretty good.
I loved it so much I did it with my CDs. I did the same thing. I was like, yeah, hell yeah, dude, I love it. Buying the hardware to store all this shit though, that's the other part.
That's the one. Yeah,
that you got to have the room. That's I got a nice little closet that nobody uses, so all my CDs go in there, and then another one where I got some records, but my other record collection, it's out there. You know what I mean? But it's just
I remember your collection. I remember when you got those big things and they were on the legs.
Oh yeah,
and it started bowing in the middle.
God,
I remember that part.
Yeah. About that. Well, that was another one of those tips and tricks. It's like, hey, you buy the calyx, but if you flip it, you can put legs that they sell for other things. And I was like, yes. Well, I only bought 4, so when I put all my records in, all of a sudden in the middle it started to, and I realized I'm gonna need 6.
Yeah.
So immediately I'm tearing records out as fast as I can, so it doesn't look like that horrible picture that you find online where the calyx fucking broke in on itself and destroyed the guy's collection.
Like that. Like those horses, when the person who's a little too heavy
yes,
on,
that's exactly,
and their back is all
exactly. Yeah, because that was just like, oh my good lord. Again, that collector and me going, I've spent way too much money on this to watch this shit get destroyed.
Yeah,
even joked with the wife more than a few times, like, if the house catches on fire, as long as everybody else is outside, I'm going back in for a few records. As long as I can. That's all
I have my go-tos as well, like records and movies and stuff like that, and I keep them separate from the main things.
Okay.
Because I know if something happens to the house, I'm gonna run for that, crash into a couple of other things on the way out. That is
a fear. I cannot lie. It was to come home and watch that thing either broken in on itself or the house catches on fire, and you just think. And it's again, I don't want to look at it as a financial, but more about like, as you said, with losing what you've lost. getting those back is almost impossible in
Sure,
some ways.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? And even as in any fire, the memories of all
course,
those things
of
too.
course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's still CDs that I can crack open and I just get a little whiff, and it's like, whew, that takes me back. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you're just seeing the picture. It's like, man, I remember when I bought this. I found it at a record store, and I never thought I would be able to, find this thing ever. You know?
There's a record I have, the first ever vinyl that was ever given to me.
Right on.
It was for a TV show in Mexico called Burbujas,
Okay.
which translates to bubbles.
Okay.
And it's just the songs from the show. The actual record actually doesn't even play because it's cracked.
Oh.
But I kept it because it used to be mine, right?
Right.
And I know I can replace it
Sure.
anytime. But every time I open it and take out the record, it's the smell of the paper takes me right back to when I was a kid.
Right on.
And had gotten it for the first time. So
Right
I
on.
keep it. It's just total like
It's
for memory.
memorabilia
Yeah,
at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, so like that. I know what you mean exactly. Like this one took me back, and even though it skips because of this big old crack in the vinyl.
Sure. I love that. I got, CDs and records older than my kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And not because that's when they came out. I'm saying when I bought it, you guys weren't even a thought.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just like,
My
no.
eyes did not gleam at that point.
I had not met your mother yet.
But yeah, so anybody out there collect like we do? I know there's again tons of more detailed collectors.
Sure.
Uh,
How do you divide your shit up?
How do you-
Because I'm an
yeah.
alphabetical guy. Person.
yeah, I am.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not a genre division type of person anymore.
I got you.
Maybe if I were a little bit more able to, and if
Sure.
I had the space, it would be a lot more specific.
Right
and
on.
people would be very annoyed with me, because I'm telling you, my
Your own
mov-
personal blockbuster.
I will say in the old version, previous to this
Mm-hmm.
of my movies, by director, and then directed by genre,
Right on.
and then all the other, alphabet stuff that filled in all that stuff. But
Right on.
you could say like, oh, my favorite director is David Lynch or this other person.
Sure.
Cool. Well, there's all the movies I have of him
Right on.
in VHS, Laserdisc, DVD, and 8-track.
Nice.
Or not 8-track, but like reel to reel or
I
something,
gotcha.
like 8mm. Yeah, I don't do it by alphabet anymore. I'm sorry, I do it by alphabet only now.
It's just easier in the end.
Yeah, so folks out there, how do you guys collect? How do you folks collect? Are you as anal about this as we tend to be, or as anal as we want to be? Yeah, let us know. Let us know what you collect, and which one would you give up if you collect more than one thing? If it's movies, music, art of any kind, because that's another thing that people tend to
Sure.
collect.
No doubt.
Some people collect T-shirts. I know
yeah.
this much.
Yeah.
Well, good luck getting the sweat stains out of
Yeah,
that.
no,
but
you're going to want T-shirts. No.
yeah, so let us know. But now, what have you been listening to?
Quite a bit in the interim, actually. So I will limit it to mainly the new stuff. But found some good stuff. One of my favorite finds recently was a band called Enemy Mine. They only put out one record and an EP. The album is called The Ice in Me. 2 bass players and a drummer.
Cool.
Post-hardcore-ish kind of thing. Fucking great. I can't get enough of it. I've been really digging
You're on a
them.
big post-hardcore trip as a...
Very much so. And then I'm going down obviously the avenues of that. So again, I'm getting a little bit of the post-hardcore, a little bit of the emo, a little bit. So you're getting little bits and pieces of this. And I'm still learning these genres in why one's called one. Well, you know what I mean? So yeah, right now between that, I got them as a reference from, I was telling you before, I finally gave it a listen. I don't know why I hadn't done it before. Engine Kid.
Oh, yeah.
The
they're great.
Greg's
Greg Anderson.
his, well, I guess maybe not first band, but the one he reissued, Angel Wings on Southern Lord and everything else.
Yeah.
I just can't get enough of that, and that led me to them. So I found them. That was really cool. Both of them you can find them on Spotify. Fantastic. I really, the 2 bass thing really is always intriguing to me.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love when people kind of do that kind of quirky shit, and I just think like, fuck yeah, man. Plus just how heavy it feels because of it. You know what I mean? But let's see what else. There's a death metal band that I found. I guess he's plays in Nile, so called Imperishable is what the name of the band. Their album. Oh good lord. This is a big word. I can't. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Imperishable. You look for him. New album. It's out. Really good. If you like Nile, I would highly recommend it. It's got that Nile feel to it. From what I was reading, this guy's actually helped. He's written on the last 2 albums, so you definitely get a Nile feel. But can use more melodic vocals in more spaces than Nile necessarily does. But that definitely, like, that double bass is going the whole time and just really cool riff. But not, I would say, not as proggy. You know what I mean? Not as Nile sometimes can be a little like, wow, there's way too much going on, dude. Sure. I mean, I'm digging you, but whew, But check them out. It was really good. One that my daughter turned me on to, folk artist called Jesse Wells. Mainly because his albums now are, I wouldn't say less, but he's doing almost like a Dylan thing where he started very political. Yeah. And now maybe he's getting into songs that can deal with other stuff, but whew, his political shit is like, God damn, dude. Like, really, like, he just says it, dude. He got one that talks shit about ICE. He on his newest album, he has one on there called, what is it? The White Christian Jesus. And goes after that, which my daughter was telling me, apparently, because once again, people don't always understand context. Apparently, a lot of white Christians thought it was fantastic until they finally bothered to really listen to the lyrics.
Oh, it's just born in the USA situation?
Exactly. Very much so. One of those things where, as you and I have just, I have no idea what's popular anymore. My daughter found him. I thought he was pretty interesting. I thought, oh man, and then I start realizing he just played Live Aid, I guess, a couple of years ago. I looked for tickets out here because he was actually going to play. They were going for $90 a piece. I was like, wow, okay, so this kid's, but good folky kind of country rock kind of thing going on. Cool, really cool voice. And Jesse Wells, and his political stuff especially. Most of that is his earlier albums, but he does also stuff where he puts them on, like, I guess, the TikTok, and you can find him on Instagram and stuff like that, where he sings these songs. Usually just him with acoustic guitar. Really cool stuff. And this guy's politically is like, this is what we need. We need some more Jesse Wells in this world. I was a little put off when I heard Dave Matthews was a huge fan, but not everybody's perfect. What are you going to do? I would definitely check him out. But,
Cool.
The other one, the new Hedonist album, loving that. I cannot get enough of it. Southern Lord just put that out, I think, the beginning of August, I think, or the very end. Yeah. Fucking great. Really good, just dirty, ugly death metal, and just the way I like it, man. Little hints of crust on there, you know what I mean? Yeah. Really been digging that one, listening to that a lot. One that I am way behind on, but nonetheless, the first Gang of Four album. One of these bands, again, I'm an idiot with this shit. I've done it before. I just thought they were a punk band. I was like, Gang of Four, someday I'll, whatever.
You know what's funny about this? Is that, please. Like, I will always... I turn my nose up at a lot of the staple stuff, which you and I have said. It'd be a lot easier if we liked AC/DC, Iron Maiden, and all that dumb shit, right? But like Gang of Four was one that I thought anyone who's into any of the subgenres of music would be aware of. Yeah. So it was a little surprising that.
I was certain. Well, and that's the thing. I was aware of them, but I thought they were just a punk band, like just a regular 70s punk band. I was like, I'm not the biggest punk guy in the world, so at some point I'll get to them, but whatever. And then for whatever reason, they just kept coming up. Like, all right, I'll listen to the first album. Within the second song, I'm like, my God, this album is fantastic. Yeah. It's a no skip. There are no bad songs on that fucking album. Just amazing. And the bass on it is just so upfront. Yep. And it's almost like a less punkier Clash. There's even like a feeling like a Devo, the angular kind of
artsy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Really, really. That was getting a lot of plays in the interim. I was really, really digging that. New Reckon Reference, I think, is fantastic. Right. Yeah. I didn't realize the last album I remember I wasn't that big on was their third one. I didn't realize they had another one in the interim. I totally lost track of them. But I checked this one out. Really digging it. It's very dark. I very much like it. I
know they put the one out, and I think Author and Punisher, which for me some reason go hand in hand.
No, I think they're very similar in a lot of ways.
I know Author and Punisher's putting something out soon.
Okay. Interesting. All right. I know. I believe they're touring too.
Reckon Reference. Yeah.
Let's see what else. The rest actually, I went down a huge hip hop. What do I want to say?
Rabbit hole.
There you go. There's the words. Mainly because New album came out from Freddie Gibb. I'm a huge fan of his, especially with Alchemist. I love The Alchemist and his production. Did essentially a part 2 of the album they had done prior, Alfredo. It's fucking amazing. I absolutely love it.
Nice.
At the same time, everybody was talking about this band. I had never heard of them, called Clips, which I'm just an old man. Don't hate me for it. So I checked that out. Amazing. Turns out they put out albums long ago. So I listened to them out. They were great. Then I found out, and I'll make sure to say this right so my son doesn't laugh at me, Pusha T, not Pusher.
Oh, yeah, Pusha T. Yeah.
Pusha T, who a name I had heard but I never bothered with. He's in Clips. And I was like, oh, I'm really digging him. Why don't I check out some of his album? Holy crap, these albums are really good too. So I've been going through that, even because he at one time was affiliated. Even went down a little Kanye, which is always a little treacherous, to say the least. Stayed in the old days. Found a couple of those albums that were actually, holy
That's
crap.
like listening to Mayhem and then continuing into Burzone just because
Yeah, it's
Varg was in there.
It's like, I'm just listening to Screwdriver's demos.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
Yeah.
Just the first album.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
good.
Which I always knew. He's very talented as a performer and as a rapper and as a producer.
He's talking about Varg Vikings, by the way.
No, but I had just never bothered, checking them out. You know what I mean? But yeah, checked a couple albums. They're pretty darn good. I gotta say. Another one that came out just recently, new Earl Sweatshirt. I really dig him. Very artsy, weird. Live, Love, Laugh is what he put out. Very, very cool. Exactly what I love about him. It's very different, but I just love the way his flow is just, very relaxed, very stoner feel to it, the whole time. And I love that. He's got one. Apparently, it's in the works with him and Alchemist. Very, very much looking forward to that.
Nice.
Another one that I found was, I saw people talking about it. I think even, what's his name? The old vinyl nerd guy. We were just talking.
Fantano?
Fantano. I think he even mentioned him. McKinley Dixon. I was like, okay, I'll check this out. Very cool, very jazzy, very cool feel to it. Then I was like, why does this guy's voice sound familiar? Because I've never heard of him before. Turns out he did some vocals on another band I absolutely love, Soul Glow. They are kind of a
hardcore kind of band?
Hardcore, but definitely hip hop influenced.
Yeah.
African American singer.
Yep.
And he did a song on their last album that I absolutely loved. And I was like, that's why I recognized his voice.
Soul Glow's cool.
Soul Glow's amazing. Yeah. I would definitely recommend him to anybody. Great hardcore with mix of some hip hop. They use some digital stuff in there too.
Yeah.
Fucking great band. Gabe Nandez is another one that I found him a long time ago. He put out an album called Pangea that I really like. This one, here we go. The ever-present game of can Aaron pronounce it? Stortilia? I don't know. It's a French word. I looked it up. It means to when you're telling, not philosophize, but you're like teaching or something like that. I think it fucking great. Just chill beats. Really dig it. For me, a lot of times there are rappers that I like, but when you put them with a really great producer who can do well with them, that's when I think it comes together the best. And whoever he found, just every song really sung on that. Other than that, again, we always say, I go back to a lot of the oldies too.
Staples.
But yeah, that was a lot of the new stuff that I had found in the interim, and just, as I said to you before we started recording, the other part is like football season's coming. Sundays are usually when I spend most of the day finding new stuff. So I'm trying to get as much in as possible, because once football starts, that gets cut in half. So yeah. How about yourself? Anything new and exciting you found?
Not really.
Okay.
I've kind of, for some weird, wacky reason, I'm not listening to a lot of stuff. The last stuff that I did listen to was actually you, myself, and Amy and some other pals went over to see Acid Bath perform.
Fantastic show.
At the Los Angeles Palladium with High on Fire opening, which, come on, High on Fire. But Acid Bath was amazing.
They were.
Great sound, great reception. Everybody was super into them. Listening to those songs live is such a cool experience, especially after so many years.
Yes. Yes. And man, he can still sing his ass off.
Still sings his ass off, yeah. Aside from that, I do recall listening to a lot of John Prine before that. Let's see, what else was I listening to? Sacrilege from the UK.
Okay.
Which, if people aren't hip on this band, let me tell you, this is such a good thrash, hardcore punk and then later Doom band.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I know the name, but
female band,
Okay.
female vocals.
Okay.
And I think she plays guitar as well.
okay.
It's just insane how good of a hardcore punk band they are. And then when they went thrash, it was really good. And then when they
Okay.
went doom, it was just as good.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. So for me, it's actually turned into one of my favorite kind of thrash bands.
Mm-hmm.
So in my version of the Big Four, they are one of
Okay.
those now. Yeah.
Sacrilege. All right.
Sacrilege.
I will
Yeah,
definitely
so
check 'em
good.
out.
I think the one album is Within the Perception or something like that.
Okay. Okay.
That's killer fucking album.
Right on.
Great vocals, just a great tone. That big Marshall guitar sound.
Nice.
Yeah, so unstoppable for me. Like
Okay.
that's fucking awesome shit.
All right.
And aside from that, well, before the show that I mentioned, Acid Bath, I was listening to a lot of Der Blue Tharsh,
Okay.
which is like neo folk.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, I don't know what they're saying. It's in German, I think.
Okay.
I don't even want to guess if it's not. You know,
Gotcha.
English is barely my second language. So.
I hear you.
Yeah, but Der Blue Tharsh was cool. You know,
Right on.
it's kind of spooky sounding neo Marshall folk.
Nice.
Which, if you know the genre, you know
Sure,
what
sure.
you get. But yeah, that's kind of all I've been listening to. What have you
And,
been?
and before we move, I just
yeah,
want to say we did talk about it after the show, but honestly, High on Fire may be one of the best live bands going right now.
Oh yeah,
They just-
thank you for this. High on
just
Fire
destroyed.
has to be the best live
I
metal
mean,
band right now.
Wow.
Every single time, 100% consistency.
Yes.
They only get better with age.
Yes.
Their music that they record is getting better
Yes.
with age.
And yet transforming also.
Yeah, it
You know, they're
changes.
progressing while still keeping the sound that is High on
Yep,
Fire.
everything stapled to that band is
Yeah.
still there.
Yes.
Plus more. Live, they bring it, regardless of who's on drums.
Right?
Because I didn't think it was Cody on drums this last time.
It certainly didn't look like him.
Because Cody's left-handed,
Ah.
and this guy was not left-handed.
Okay.
As I was
Yeah, he had
told.
long hair, and I was like, we just saw him
Yeah,
like
Cody's
less than a
got
year
short hair.
ago. Like,
Yeah.
unless this man is, the ability to grow hair.
He's
is,
Samson or something.
right? Yeah. Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought too is like, and nothing against Windhand. I'm not a fan, but they are they're a good band.
Sure,
They make
yeah.
great music. Opening for Acid Bath is never going to be an easy task. I don't care who you are.
Right.
But it's like, to me, fucking High on Fire like understood the assignment.
Oh, yeah.
The set list was such where it was just like where it picked up and where it came down. Whew, man, you were just spent by the time they were done, dude.
For sure.
And man.
It's a pummeling band.
They're so good. We saw them as an opener for Acid Bath, and less than 6 months ago, we just saw them as the headliner.
As the headliner.
And it's just like, it didn't lack in any way, shape,
Not
or
at
form.
all. And they're actually headlining another tour. They're going to be playing somewhere in Orange County.
Oh, yeah,
That's towards the end of this month.
Yes.
So
Just like, man. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to. We had talked about it after the show, and I just like, man, they're so fucking good.
And I will say this, the next music that Aaron and I both take in as far as live situation is going to be tonight.
Yes.
We're going to be attending the Void of Voices show, which is a drone experimental noise kind of project that Attila Sihar from Mayhem, Tormentor, Plasma Pool, all these other great bands. One of my absolute favorite vocalists. To me, he is the voice of the universe. But I don't know what he's going to do, so that's
Yeah.
going to be exciting.
I'm very excited. I can't.
That's going to be cool as hell.
The
Yeah.
mystery of it alone is worth showing up
Yeah,
for
it's
for
gonna
sure.
be. I think it's gonna be awesome, regardless of what it is. It's
Absolutely.
gonna be awesome.
No.
He can come out and just fucking.
Yeah. We're not going to be bored. That's for
not
sure.
at all. Not at all. But yeah, but because we're old people, it's gonna be a really late show.
Yeah.
and we're gonna be struggling.
There'll be naps taken beforehand.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah. Yeah. What have you been watching?
Again, I'll keep it to the newer stuff for the most part. Since the last time we talked, saw Superman. I know you did too.
Yeah.
Very much enjoyed it. I thought they did a fantastic job with it. Really enjoyed it. Very fun. I love I thought it was one of those things. I liked the fact that they threw me into it.
Yeah.
I'm not the superhero nerd the way many of my friends are, or my daughter. So there were definitely questions I had, but I felt like they answered them enough that I didn't care, and I didn't have to be steeped in the lore,
Yeah.
and yet could still be present with these characters and go, yeah, we're going. Let's keep going. I just thought they did a fantastic job. Really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You know, another one, Weapons. We went to the theater, saw Weapons. Really enjoyed that. I thought Barbarian was good, but I thought he did a much better job with this one. As I saw somebody say, the biggest problem with Barbarian was landing the plane. This one, he landed the plane. I thought he did a really good job of just like the third act was just as good as your first two. You know what I mean? So I really enjoyed that. It was very creepy. I found out my kids had barely ever seen even a what do you call it, a preview for it. So they really got thrown into it, you know. And it was one of these movies too where I guess there's enough press because my aunt hit me up. She's like, "Hey, are you going to see that Weapons movie?" I was like, "Yeah, actually we are." She said, "Well, tell me about it." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, I'm not seeing it. That's too scary for me, but I just want to know how it ends." You know, so I was just like, okay, no problem. The Monkey, done by, it was the short story by Stephen King, done by the guy who did Long Legs. To me, it was a better made, and this may upset some people, I'm sorry, almost like a better made Final Destination.
Okay.
These kids essentially find a monkey that you can make wishes on, but it never goes the way you want to. And somebody dies all the time. And dies in these absolutely horrific, what the fuck ways that you're just, and you find yourself laughing at it.
That's a bold statement, especially after I just took in the last Final Destination movie.
I did a Final Destination marathon actually because I was recommended by people. So
especially the way they close out the Tony Todd storyline.
For sure, no doubt.
That's a very big.
I think the problem with for me, it's like the story's better is really what it comes down to. Final Destination is, I get it. I get why people like it, but it feels like it's guys sitting in a room going, how can we kill people?
Yeah.
And somebody goes, okay, but what's the story? We'll get to that later. How do we kill people? And we'll write a story around it, which I have no problem with. Don't get me wrong. The movies know what they are. Yeah. That's the beauty of them. And I also think the one time I went, now that's clever. I never saw it till the very end, was the whole time they're talking about flying to Paris. I think it's 5 or 6 or whatever. They're talking about flying to Paris, and I never put it together until the very end when they get on the plane. I'm like, oh, this is the plane from the first fucking Final Destination. Son of a bitch. Spoiler alert, I guess, for anybody who hasn't seen it. But yeah,
I mean, the movie's been out.
Yes. Don't get me wrong. The Final Destination movies, extremely entertaining if you're into that stuff. I'm not putting them down. I just thought The Monkey was like a better, story-wise, better written way of kind of doing the same thing. And you tell me Stephen King, I'm already in. So The Phoenician Scheme, I think is how you say it. It's Wes Anderson, his usuals. This one was a little weak to me. There's some great people in it. He usually works with a lot of the same cast. I love the aesthetic and the look of a Wes Anderson movie in general, but this one felt a little kind of, by the numbers. You're like, yeah, it's Wes Anderson. This is what he does.
That's, honestly, I think a lot of older directors, a lot of more established directors are kind of falling into that category where they do things by the numbers because they know it hit before, they have an established audience, and they could succeed without really trying,
right. And he's done stuff that I absolutely love. And, it's always been a mixed bag with him. Sure. Certain ones I don't like, certain ones I do like, But that one was some good performances, but for the most part was just like, I was a little bummed out by that one. The Thunderbolts, we watched that as a family. That was fun. Again, Florence Pugh, I think, is fantastic. I always love the David guy. He's great and stuff. I like those characters. They're fun to kind of revisit again. It was kind of interesting, the idea of taking the bad guy and making it about depression and so on and so forth. Oh, okay, wow, that's interesting. It's always interesting the way you use comics to deal with other social issues.
Which is new too, because they didn't do that.
Oh, that's not okay. Okay, cool. Okay,
and one of the earliest, I think, as far as like mainstream comics goes, in the maybe late '80s, early '90s, Marvel Comics actually published an issue of Iron Man where he talks about his alcoholism.
Oh, really?
And on the cover, he's in front of a mirror dressed as Iron Man without the mask, bunch of bottles, and he looks all tore up. And that
interesting.
that was one of the big things about it.
Well, that's why I've always thought, like, when people do, ooh, for kids, it's like, you're not reading comics if you just think they're for kids.
Yeah, no, comics are so different now.
They're really, I love that you can use that to talk about other things and kind of subvert people into understanding these other things. It was fun. It was just, I think it was a little over 2 hours, perfect amount of time. By the way, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is fucking amazing. I love her as that character. My wife said it. They must have watched Veep and went, I think we found Our Lady. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like that, but even more evil. You know what I mean? Yeah, she's so good in that.
Yeah, she made I think in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. I think that's her at the end.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
and then at the end of the other one, Black Widow.
Black Widow. That's
Yeah.
right.
I think she's great. And this one, she has a much bigger part in it. She's all over it, and she's so good, man. The biggest disappointment that we watched, in my opinion, we got real excited, and the kids had never seen 28 Days Later. So we're like, awesome. We're going to watch 28 Days. They loved it. I remembered how much I loved it. It's fantastic. And then we're like, hey, fuck it. It's up for rent 28 years later. We're going to finally see this thing. I'm really excited. I don't know, man. I was really let down. I still
haven't seen it. So
I don't want to necessarily spoil. I just think I was really bummed.
I know
I
a
think
lot of
it's
people
really
have been-
weak story writing in a lot of ways.
A lot of people have been saying that it's not good. Like, period.
I didn't.
You know,
and then to
so-
find out there's another one coming.
Yeah, Bone Temple. or
Yeah,
something.
I don't know. It just, again, I don't want to, since you haven't seen it, I don't necessarily want to give anything away per se. It's just to say, there were moments where you go like, I love the kind of the idea that these, because I guess they're technically not zombies,
They're not,
right? They're
yeah.
infected people.
It's the rage.
So
fury.
the idea that they can evolve and they've changed in certain ways, cool. I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem. It's just a really weak story to get this kid out of the island on his own, where it's just like, what? You know, and just and then we cleansed our palate with World War Z, watching what is a fantastic movie, so we could cleanse our palate from the horrible, in my opinion, 28 years later. That was a big, almost one where I wanted to call Mr. Bezos and go, I'm going to need my $20 back because this was really bad.
He'd tell you what Liam Neeson was told in Taken.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, that was that of all the new stuff. And then TV show wise, loving Peacemaker, as always.
Okay.
Very much digging that. And then the Alien Earth. So far, so good.
I mean, Peacemaker's one of Amy and my shows
Absolutely.
as well. I'm a huge Alien fan, so I'm looking forward to checking out Alien Earth. I've heard some good stuff about it, but purposely have not.
Understandable. No. I believe me, I was a little cautious going into it too. So far, so good. I'm digging it.
It's on Amazon, right?
No, Hulu.
Hulu, okay.
Yeah, because it's a FX show.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
the fact that what's his name is a part of it, Ridley Scott, to some degree, I don't know, how much he is.
Yeah.
Kind of made me say, okay, I'll definitely check it out. It's become one of our Sunday views. I very much enjoy it. Last thing is I finally finished Andor. I think my kids kind of were like, I'm out.
Yeah.
They got bored with it. I kind of did. It definitely picked up towards the end.
Yeah.
And got really, really good. I just feel that middle section, maybe they were dragging some storylines out a little longer than it necessarily needed to be. But in the end, really good, very cool. And I just love, again, getting to visit the other worlds, the different people, the different, all that stuff. So, yeah. That was, other than that, again, watching a movie I've seen about a million times, but every now and again you come across a World War Z where it's like, every time I watch that, I fucking love it. So I'm good with it. How about yourself?
I gotta say, just before I
Please.
start,
No.
I'm one of those jerks who does prefer the book World War Z to the movie.
I have learned over the years how different the two are, understandably so.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, the movie, when there's a really cool scene when the zombies, the Zeds, are piling up on the wall.
Yes.
That looked cool, but then I remember being in the theater and watching it. I was like, these are all fucking CGI.
That does not hold up that well. There's no doubt about it. Especially that scene.
Yeah.
Because how else are you going to do it? You're not wrong.
You get Cirque du Soleil to come in and do it.
Yeah, I guess you would have to.
All
but
the versions of Cirque du
I
Soleil.
think the part I love is like, it's almost like, at least, obviously with the movie, my son was kind of saying this, like, Brad Pitt is it's almost like a Die Hard, when it's like, he's not a superhero.
Yeah.
He's not the strong man like a Schwarzenegger or that. He's just a regular dude who just has certain skills that
just enough of those
just
skills.
enough of them. Exactly.
Yeah, yep.
And not everything he does necessarily works out, but like, I just love little scenes like, where he's realizing, counting 12 seconds before the guy changes.
Yeah.
And keeping that in his head, knowing, okay, that means we've got time. So like when he cuts the girl's arm off and he's like, you're going to be fine, other than me cutting your arm off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, right?
But just stuff like that, I thought was just really cool little story ideas. I was just always in love with that. And it's just one of those ones when, especially when you watch 28 Days Later, which I think is an absolute masterpiece. And then you watch that, you just go, yeah, that's how you do it. And then having to watch that other one. I was like, ugh, such a bummer. It just really was. Because I love that franchise. Because as you and I have talked, I know the second one doesn't get as much love as the first one, but it's good. I enjoy it, and it's just like, so when you heard a third, you're like, here we go. And it's like,
They had
ugh.
so much potential to work from.
Yes.
Especially sending out 28 years later.
Yes.
Well, how does the rage virus kind of like
How does it
affect
progress? How does
people?
it evolve?
Yeah.
How did these people survive on this little island? Using that island in England where where you have to wait for the tide, like it's a real place. Like I love that. That's cool. That's a neat thing to incorporate. But it just, like I said, if you ever happen to watch it,
I'm going to just to close out.
you should, and
that
you should,
chapter,
because I
you know.
as I know you are a fan of the first two, it's the same thing, and I'd be interested to hear your take on it. Maybe
Yeah,
that'll be
I'll-
another conversation.
I'll start in on stuff. So I've
Please.
just full disclosure,
Yes.
I've been in a weird funk, so I haven't really been watching a lot of stuff. So
Understand.
some of this is the last thing I think I really took in was Predator, not Badlands, Killer of Killers,
Is that the cartoon?
the cartoon.
Okay.
So fucking awesome.
Really? Okay.
It's fucking awesome. I mean, anything that explores the Yatja, which is the Predator clan that guy is in. I mean, it's fucking awesome.
Okay.
And the way it's done, I don't think it could have been done in a live action movie, honestly.
Okay.
So I'm glad that the franchise is exploring animation
Right
as an
on.
option. I always think if Star Wars and even Lord of the Rings did stuff in animation that was like serious, they would have such a bigger audience already, But I'm glad Predator is doing this because it has some ties to Prey also. in
Oh,
there.
okay, okay.
Yeah, that's just little references, little nods.
Right on.
And when you catch them, you're like, oh shit, these fuckers are building a fucking universe, a
Very
Predator
cool.
universe.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So that was probably like the last real thing that I watched. I'm gonna start taking more media in.
I gotcha.
More visual, non-visual for me. I did sit through. My brother-in-law was watching Godzilla -1,
Oh,
which I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I did. We saw it in the theaters.
Just the way it sounds like the best Godzilla movie ever in the world. So I
I felt like I was watching a Godzilla movie with no Godzilla. That was I get it. It was a wonderful movie, and that's I always say maybe that's more on me. I went to watch Godzilla destroy the city.
Yeah, no, this
It's
is
not
this
that-
is this is way
Yeah.
this is just how like the city actually deals
Exactly.
with the threat of Godzilla.
Absolutely, and then the idea of killing and is it worth it, and
Right.
sacrificing yourself, and and all those things were done wonderfully.
Yeah.
I went in with different expectations. So it's not necessarily fair to the movie. It's just you told me Godzilla, I showed up for Godzilla. And I was like, I think I saw him twice.
The way just the dialogue that I heard so far. But what really got me was the music in the movie.
Yeah.
They reused music from older movies.
Oh, okay,
So I recognized like the main theme,
okay,
which was also in one of the Godzilla video games.
okay.
And I went apeshit.
Right on.
I was just like, how can this fucking be? Like, how is this old thing new again?
Right.
But so I'm just waiting for that to get audio description so I can take that.
Oh,
look
okay,
again. But
okay.
that's one that I really, really want to watch. But yeah, so once I start it, I'll have more to report.
Right on.
But yeah, so folks, thank you again.
Always.
If anyone's interested in checking this out, we are actually having this particular episode videotaped by our friend Brian.
Absolutely.
Brian, if you want to step up to a microphone, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
So Brian is actually a man of many trades. He videotapes stuff using a drone as far as I know. He's also a musician. He plays in a band called Sky Eater, who are roommates to my band in this room. Tell us a bit about yourself, Brian.
Oh well. The tables have turned, my friend.
Hello, everybody. How are the turntables?
So I know you're originally from the Bay Area,
Yes.
right? Yeah. What brought you down to LA in the first place?
I moved here. I moved to Los Angeles about 2011. Transferred my job working at Orchard Supply Hardware
Hell yeah.
after graduating college, and just moved in with roommates and lived all throughout LA, and then moved to the hinterlands a couple years ago up in Fraser Park, and then would like travel down here, and got laid off almost 2 years ago, and now I'm working up in the Bay Area. So I've been kind of bouncing back and forth between the Bay and LA for a while.
It's a lot of bouncing.
Yeah,
It's a big bounce.
it's a
Yeah.
few bounces.
Cool. Yeah. What's any upcoming Sky Eater news you want to maybe share?
As far as I know, we're right now we're just writing some stuff. We're trying to put some tracks together and release them as soon as we can. Tomorrow we're practicing in this very room, and that's gonna be fun. I come here again, I'm in the Bay Area, so I come here I was trying to do twice a month, and that ended up being a tall order. So now it's been once every 4 or 5 weeks or so, and we'll see what happens. How often I can do that, but I try to make it down here as much as I can.
Yeah. So, is there a place anybody interested in any of the fun stuff you're a part of where they can find you?
Yeah, so if you go on, I hesitate to recommend the service because they're kind of evil, but Sky Eater is on Spotify. Sky Eater also has a Bandcamp as well. We're on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Byron112667. I also go under the moniker Gorman Rockwell, even though I moved to the Bay Area because I live near Gorman and I love a good pun. I'm still keeping it. Maybe I'll come back to Gorman one of these days, and there you can find all of my drone videography, concert videography, weird stuff where you were just talking about 28 Days Later earlier, weird stuff where I tear off my shirt and pretend to be a zombie and film it in slow motion. And kind of gotten my friends to film me making weird noises, just going like I like doing that. That's one of my favorite things ever, and it's driven my parents and my cat insane. So it's another reason why I have to get down here every once in a while.
If you need a person to do voice work as well, you got Brian here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've been told I do a very good Alex Jones.
there you go. Yeah.
Infowars.com. Tomorrow's news today. We have the documents, folks.
Yeah. So thank you again for taping
Absolutely.
us. Thank you for joining us today, and
Absolutely.
thank everybody out there for listening in. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Howdy, folks. Thank you so much for spending time with us here at the rehearsal room. If you've got any recommendations you'd like for us to check out, whether it's a band, a movie, or anything else you think we'd be interested in, you can write to us at therehearsalroompod@gmail.com, all one word. We're also over on Instagram or Facebook, or even YouTube. You can also find us on any of the popular platforms for podcasts. And if you happen to know anybody that would be interested in any of the subjects we're talking about, please make sure to refer this show over to them. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to us, and we'll catch you soon.